Hey, I want to welcome everyone. My name is Scott Williams. We're here at General Council, just finished hosting the Influence Conference. Amazing time, 4,500 people there, some amazing speakers, and it was just made me feel the presence of God here. And it's been really cool to sit down and spend some time with a lot of the influence authors. As a matter of fact, I'm sitting down right now with my man, Jeremy Stevens. He has a brand new book that is coming out in January, right?
Yes, sir.
And I love the title of this book. It's called Quarter Life. And I'm like, and what is quarter life? And we're sitting there talking, and so he began to explain to me what quarter life is. I'm like, that is a cool concept. I've never heard this. And so I'm gonna go ahead and tease it up a little bit. There's like, you have a midlife crisis,
Right.
which everyone's watching. You're familiar with what a midlife crisis is, but tell me about this quarter life thing.
Well, I mean, you talk about a midlife crisis, and you talk about that period of life when you get into your 40s and your 50s, and you're kind of looking back on how your life has progressed and the trajectory of it, and maybe reminiscing, maybe wishing you did a few things differently, maybe wish you could do things over again. A quarter life crisis, actually the term was branded about 10 years ago. It's when you get out of college, and normally...
Who branded that term? Do you know?
She wrote a book named Quarter Life Crisis. And
Okay, so
Elizabeth Ross, I think, was her name.
Okay, so a lady.
But it was a psychologist, right, that wrote a book on it and really just identified it, not necessarily gave any way to deal with it. Everybody's familiar in their lives. They go through periods where there's kind of like a mountain you have to climb, a trial you have to go through, something like that. When you get out of college, in American society at this point, is about 5 big mountains, kind of like a mountain stacked on a mountain on a mountain. You've got mortality. You start to see your parents age for the first time. You're kind of dealing with those questions. You've got finance. You're expected to support a family, and you've got student loans that are about a year's salary worth when you get out of school.
Student loans, who invented those anyway?
I think it should be free, but
That's a whole other story. But that's good. Okay, I'm seeing the compound.
Yeah,
Keep
then
going.
there's career on top of that. You know, a lot of people don't go to trade schools anymore. They're going to universities where you get taught how to learn, not necessarily taught how to work, taught how to do your job that you're doing. On top of that, you're expected to be at least dating, maybe getting married. A lot of people aren't even in the right frame of mind to think about that. And then autonomy was on the top of that one. And for me personally, that was the toughest one, because you grow up in a church, you get what your parents believe, you kind of fall under that, but when you get out of college, it's like you're out from underneath that. And you realize that you've been believing what they believe, but you don't necessarily always know why. And that's where it really hit me, all these mountains on top of mountains on top of mountains, where it just all looks so daunting from the bottom. You're looking at 5 mountains high. So just trying to find a resource that isn't just saying deal with it until there's a midlife crisis, basically, but finding a real resource that pulls from the life of Jesus, pulls from pastors in the community that are in that demographic. And then, you know, there's some of my stories in there too, just talking about how each of those mountains can be broken down, and that Jesus didn't call us into a life where things are a crisis or things are something to be struggled with. He called us into a life that even the most challenging parts of it should be something that we should celebrate and learn from. So it's just taking those topics and refocusing them so that we can learn from them, and then, you know, live our life without crisis and live it with celebration. Maybe even get to the point where you're in your 40s and you don't even think about the word midlife crisis. So,
well, I think what's cool is I mean, I haven't read the book. It doesn't come out until January, obviously. But I'm sitting there thinking, as you talked about these different mountains, is that every one of those mountains is different for different people. So for some people, the mountain of student loans is really, really big deal, heavy. For other people, that mountain of all my friends are getting married, and I'm sitting around here, I don't even have a girlfriend, I don't even have a boyfriend, and so the stress of that, and the stress of I'm supposed to be independent, the stress of, you know, I have this job and I'm still, you know, working at Starbucks. You know, nothing against the Starbucks barista, but, you know, after having a stack of student loans, you want to be doing something different, and your parents and your peers expect something different. So I think the reality is that everybody has all these different mountains, so they're all looking at them different, so how they're processing different. But I think it's definitely a new concept. It sounds like that you're onto something that at least people need to begin to think about, because I think that's what's important. Once they realize that, oh wow, these exist, and then, you know, you're providing some practical solutions with stories of how you can begin to look at them differently.
Yeah, and I mean, because I look at my own life, and I was the Starbucks barista with the psychology degree that looked nice on my refrigerator.
My degree's in psychology.
You know that?
And then my master's in criminal justice.
Oh, okay.
Management administration, nothing. Yeah, the Lord had other plans. But
Yeah.
psychology is like, but that was like the degree in college, like where you're gonna change the world.
Yeah.
Because man, I'm gonna be around how everybody thinks. And I can do this. And so you learn about, you know, Maslow's. Pavlov's law.
Yeah,
I was like, I mixed up Maslow and Pavlov. What do I call it?
Maslov. I like
That's
it,
a
though.
new one.
Somebody's got to be named Maslov and had a dog at some point.
And so every time, but that's funny. Okay.
And so, but yeah, I lived through that, and then I saw the psychology degree take up a nice space on my refrigerator. I was applying it to whether somebody would want a latte or a mocha, you know.
Right.
And I was married, but then, you know, the Bible doesn't say that marriage is for everybody. And being single, in the book I talk about this too. Being single almost has a stigma to a lot of people, but that could be your calling from God too. So it's coming alongside and realizing your calling in the Lord and your calling for the kingdom, apart from those obstacles, and just seeing that you can use the things you go through, you can use the bears and the lions that you have to fight, like David, to be able to conquer your Goliath when you get to him. So.
That's it. So would you say this book is geared, like who's the target audience? Is it?
I mean, originally when I wrote it was for people my age, just because that's what I went through. But the more I've talked to people,
What's your age?
I'm 29.
Okay.
So I kind of am on the end of that, you know, coming out of it. But you know, people in high school that are going to want to preemptively seek out these things because they know that college is coming, and to see that not all their answers might be solved by the time they get out of school. But it's all right. It's all right to be that. But then, you know, people in their 40s that have kids, or you know, 40s and 50s that have kids that are in this age, to look at them and to see them before they go through these things, and to offer some advice to them. So, you know, it could be open up to a lot of people.
Well, it's not like it reach a broad audience, because you're right. You got the high school people that need to figure this thing out. You got the people that are these 20s that it's obviously targeted for them, mid-30s to target for them, and then as they're that age, they're having friends that they're trying to figure out why their friend is still single, or why they're. Then they even pick up this book, like, because you know what, they're going through this quarter life crisis, and this is a tool. So now they can, you know, as they're doing discipleship, or people that are in their small group, people that are in their church, or whatever, they can begin to help them with some solutions. So let's go back to Starbucks. I kind of like, you said you're a barista.
I was.
So what was the most difficult drink to make?
Probably my own, just because I kind of messed around and I would be
What is that
these
drink?
experiments. It was you would put 2 pumps of raspberry, you would put 1 pump of white mocha, and you'd put 3 shots of espresso, half non-fat milk, half whole milk. To kind of get that little balance, you get the taste, but it's not too.
How would I order that? Because somebody right now is going to want to order that. That's
I know
watching.
you could order. It would be. Let's
What
see.
would you call it?
It would
Just
be
call it out like you're at the counter, like, this is the drink.
triple venti, 2% raspberry, 1 pump white mocha.
All right, somebody order that. It's going to be good, right?
It's delicious. It's sweet.
I'm not like I drink an iced caramel macchiato, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Caramel in and out, extra caramel,
Oh, yeah.
double pumps of vanilla. So I'm like, I just want, that's a pretty sweet drink, you would say.
Yeah, because it's got all the caramel on top. You can get that upside down though. The caramel macchiato, they shake it up. It's all.
Yeah, it's all
Got
good.
all the tricks of the trade, man. That's one
good.
thing I pulled from it.
What's good? Wait, man. I'm looking forward to seeing this to be a resource that's in the hands of so many people that need it. Because, I mean, really, you're providing some answers, some teeth, and some solutions, some thoughts to an area that most of us have never thought about. I know that when I was in my 20-somethings, which was just yesterday, and when I was in my 20-somethings, it was a little while ago. But anyway, this would have been something good to kind of just to look through these areas. And so, man, appreciate you writing this resource. How can people, you know, get in contact with you? How do they follow up with you? And what can they, or just they need, in January when this comes out?
Yep, that
pick
comes
it
out
up.
in January. And then my information is on theinfluenceresources.com, the webpage. It's got my Twitter, my Facebook on there. I actually have a website too called Quarter Life Christian, to kind of start that conversation, build that community where people can come together and kind of compare notes and just support each other through that time period.
It's going to be good. Look, I mean, I like that. It looks too nice. Good looking. The life has got like exclamation point.
Yeah, I don't know
like,
who they get to design this stuff, but it's great.
It's cool,
man. I
isn't
like
it? Yeah, it's good. Well, it's good. Well, anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us. Scott Williams here with my man Jeremy Stevens. We're talking about his brand new book that is coming out in January. It's called Quarter Life. Subtitle is Crisis Management from History's Greatest 30-something. So anyway, available through Influence Resources. Thank you guys for joining us. And we're going to man a fist bump like that. Boom, and we're out.